Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining in once again on my YouTube channel. We're still in the book of James. We're on chapter 3, verses 13 through 18. And the verses reads, um, Who is wise and understanding among you? Let him show by good conduct that his works are done in the meekness of wisdom. But if you have bitter envy and self-seeking in your heart, do not boast and lie against the truth. This wisdom does not descend from above, but is earthly, is sensual, is demonic. For envy and self-seeking exist, confusion, and every evil thing, they are there. But the wisdom is from above, is first pure, then peaceful, gentle, willing to yield, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality and without hypocrisy. And now the fruits of the righteousness is sown in peace by those who make peace. That's the King James Version, but I think the Amplified Version to me is a little bit better. It says, who's there among you who is wise and intelligent? Then let him by his noble living show forth his good works with the humility which is proper attributes or the true wisdom. But if you have bitter jealousy and envy and contrite and rivalry in your hearts, do not pride yourself on it, and thus be in defiance of false to the truth. This superficial wisdom is not such a comes down from above, but it is earthly, unspiritual, and is even devilish or demonic. But whatever there is jealousy, envy, and contention, rivalry, and selfish ambition, there will always be confusion, unrest, disharmony, rebellion, and all sorts of evils will be at practice. But the wisdom from above is first of all pure and is undefiled. Then is peace loving, is courteous, is considerate, is gentle, is willing to yield to reason, full of compassion and full of good fruits. It is wholehearted, straightforward, impartial, and unfeigned. And the harvest of righteousness, of conformity to God, will in thought and deed is the fruit of the seed, sown in peace by those who work for and make peace in themselves and in others. That peace which means concord, agreement, and harmony between individuals with understanding, undisturbedness in the money between, which means concord, agreement, harmony between individuals with undisturbance in peaceful minds, free from fear, agitation, passion, and moral conflicts. So these verses are speaking about living with wisdom from God. And we know there's a earthly wisdom, and we know there's a godly wisdom. And of course, we want to have the godly wisdom. That is the best kind. Earthly wisdom can come with evil. So previously in James chapter 1, verse 5, he speaks about how wisdom and we spoke about the different types of wisdom, and well, the good wisdom, which is from God above, and we spoke about evil wisdom that is man-made, and man-made wisdom is not always good. It can be evil as well. So we spoke about that when we did chapter 1, verse 5, and if you want to go back and check that, you may want to go ahead and think about that and reading it again, just to kind of refresh your memory on that. But wisdom is the greatest of goods. It's a great good given from God above. And James helps us to understand what wisdom is from God, because there's definitely a difference between the wisdom from God and the wisdom from man. To understand the difference of the earthly wisdom or manly wisdom versus God wisdom, wisdom can be good or evil, as I stated. Evil wisdom comes from what? It comes from Satan. Bitter, it has bitter, envy, strife, chaos. It has all those different things in what we call evil wisdom, and you can read that in verses 14. It has a pungent stench to it. You can tell it's not wisdom from God. It has a stench to it. It's characteristic of jealousy and has zeal and chaos in it. Worldly envy leads to confusion, chaos, and all manner of evil things. Worldly envy. Self-seeking or strife causes fractions or party splits. We have why your parties are splitting. Think about Trump and how we have Republican and Democrat. Those are parties that have split. And actually, in actuality, they're really null and void because Trump is ruling things. He is total demonic, and he is just ruling things. And we just need to pray for Trump, pray for the world, pray for the U.S., pray for all our leaders as a whole. We really need to pray and ask God to give us some leaders. Some good leaders, because we need some good leaders to lead this country. But the prime example of man's sinful nature is wanting to have his own way of doing things. And we know Trump do everything his way he want to do. He don't care what nobody else think. He want to do the way Trump want to do it. So he is a prime example of man wanting to be in total control. And everything has to be done his way. He don't think about others' opinion. What he says he believes is right, and that's just it. And so we know that's not the way it should be. So, but that's a prime example of this sinful nature that we have, wanting to own and do everything, everything, regardless of, whether you're right or wrong. There's this thing called boasting. Boasting denotes the glorification of things that are not true. We boast about things, and we don't even have the right to boast about anything. We did not create anything. We did not make anything. We cannot do anything our own. So what do we have to boast about? Everything that is done, that is good, is from God, and we know if it's evil, it's from Satan. But we don't have the authority to wake ourselves up in the morning, so we don't have anything to boast about. But then there's lying, and lies are untruth or deception. We have false teachers, 2 Peter 2:1 and Matthew 7:15. They speak about the false teachers and the false prophets. And they are many. There are many of them here on this earth today. Verse 15 tells about 3 sources of wisdom. And those 3 sources of wisdom is earthly, sensual, and demonic. And the difference between those sources, the earthly wisdom is called epigios. And that's the Greek word, and I know I didn't pronounce it correctly. But it's worldly. It's the worldly system. That's the worldly system. That's earthly. The worldly system. Then we have sensual. Sensual has to do with nature, animal, or the flesh. It's not spiritual based at all. That's the sensual form of wisdom. And the third one is what? Demonic. And we know demonic means what? The devil himself in control. So, 2 results of the evil wisdom in verse 16 says envy and self-seeking, which brings about confusion. It reflects instability and disorder, where godly wisdom brings about what? Peace. No chaos, peace. Good wisdom in verse 17, it speaks about godly wisdom is pure, which means hagnos, chaste, clean, innocent, or perfect. And it comes from the root word holy. Secondly, good wisdom it speaks about is peaceful, peaceable. Anything that is peace, shalom, Jehovah Shalom, the God of peace. Peace and quiet, without chaos, without confusion. That's wisdom that comes that way. Wisdom comes in a gentle form. It's patient, it's considerate. It has the spirit of Jesus Christ in it. That wisdom that comes from God, the good wisdom. For willing to yield, it has a willingness to yield. It's easy to be entreated or open to reason. It's open to reason. and it's easily persuaded. Then we have the wisdom is called full of mercy, which is parts of God's character. You know, God is full of mercy and grace. That's God's character. 2 Timothy 1:2 said, God is the source of all mercy. He's the source of all mercy. 6, full of good fruits. We have bad fruits and good fruits, and we spoke about those bad fruits as well as the good fruits in the earlier chapters. So, but when you get good wisdom, it's full of good fruits. It abides in Jesus and brings much fruits to us. John 15:4-5 tells us that. The fruits of the Spirit in Galatians 5:22-23. And as I say, we just talked about those earlier, and I went through and I gave you a definition of each one of those fruits of the Spirit. And those are the characteristics that we should have within and show within our lives. 7, it's without partiality. Another form of good wisdom. Number 7 says it's without partiality. It's not judging. It don't show favoritism. It's spoken about in James 2:1-9. And 8, it says it's without hypocrisy. It's not hypocritical. It's not pretentious. It's not false. Godly wisdom is it's without pretense. It flows from God, so therefore it's perfect, it's harmonious, it's truth, and it manifests truth and sincerity. The 9th characteristic of good wisdom is true justice. True justice. Verse 18 tells us that James concludes godly wisdom is truth and godly justice and peace that manifests from it. So godly wisdom is not only to be recognized, but lived by us. And it should reflect in our daily lives. Everything that we do daily should reflect those characteristics. So there was 2 questions. The first question says, how and where do we get this wisdom? Well, that's the easy answer. He gave us an answer. He said, what? Ask for it. All you got to do is ask God for the wisdom. And he said he'll give it to you. Ask with sincerity, truth, love in your heart, and he will give it to you. That's in James 1:5. So who is wise and understanding? 3:13 tells us that. The one who shows by good conduct that his works are done in meekness and wisdom and done in humility. Godly wisdom manifests in our daily life. It should manifest in our daily life. It should be shown in everything that we do. So as we walk this walk as Christians, we should remember the fruits of the Spirit, because that's a characteristic we should display. We should understand that there are 2 types of wisdom. You have the earthly wisdom and you have godly wisdom. And the one that you should prefer is godly wisdom. You have to ask God for wisdom. He will give it to you. Now, there's wisdom on the manly wisdom. There is some good wisdom in the earthly wisdom, but it is some evil as well. But we know that all wisdom that comes from above is good, because God is good. God is truth. There's no bad there. His is perfect. It's peace. There's no chaos. There's no falseness or pretentiousness with it. Jehovah Shalom, the God of peace. When you get that wisdom from God, it's going to be peaceful. It's not going to bring any chaos or turmoil or anything like that with it. So you'll know that wisdom is from above and it's not from man. So basically, this is what James is wanting us to learn and how to implement it in our daily lives. The fruits of the Spirit that we spoke of earlier, that should be a characteristic of you. And you should want wisdom when mountains or trials come in your life. Well, you ask God for wisdom to help you to get through that situation, because he's already supplied the victory. But we need his wisdom to help us to get to that victory, to walk that path and find out what we need to do. And that all comes about with the relationship that you have with him. We must have a personal relationship with God. That's very important. And the only way you can have a personal relationship with God is getting to know Him, spending time with Him, showing Him that you love Him. So that's very important. I hope that you receive something from these verses. I do appreciate your tuning in for my YouTube channel. Again, this is Reverend May, True Worship Christian Center. Thank you so much for joining in. God bless and favor to you.